These are veiled terroristic threats, to put it simply. And it worked. So I guess, wow, that's shocking and terrifying. The Daily Mail says Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield has reversed a policy change that would have seen them tie payments in some states to the length of a time a patient went under anesthesia. The insurance company was one of the largest health insurance companies in the country, backtracked on the move following widespread outcry. Or perhaps it was Taylor Lorenz saying that she wanted these people to die, making a long post about how many people want them to die, and then posting the image of the woman for everyone to see, while scores of leftists across social media are saying more, more, more. Maybe it's just terrorism.
It's definitely terrorism. It sets a horrible, horrible precedent. Obviously, I get it. If people are concerned for their safety, that makes perfect sense. But there are a lot of security companies out there. There's a lot of people that are in the business of protecting people.
But I was talking about this earlier. It doesn't matter. Security companies don't matter, right? So the issue with what they're doing with these threats, I'll explain it very simply. There was a security incident with me in Nashville. We were hanging out with John Rich on the show. I said, hey, let's go to your honky tonk and let's play a show. And he said, let's do it. And then we announced, like, it's going to be a big show. John Rich, country music star. I'll be there. I play music too. And someone showed up pretending to be security, asking about weird information. Whole thing got shut down. I said, screw these people. They're not going to scare me. I'm not going to be threatened out of doing a show. And I was told, Tim, there are children walking down the street. If a crazy person shows up with a weapon and there's a crossfire, these kids could get hurt. We can't do it. You cannot do this. So when these people put out these threats to these CEOs, it's not so simple to just say the CEOs can get security, because that CEO means they can't go out to a picnic with their kids at the park. They can't go on a boat ride. They can't go on a cruise, because one crazy person, like this guy targeting the CEO, it was early in the morning, but it's just New York. What if there are crowds? Mm-hmm. So they can have all security in the world and someone can show up and just unload into a crowd and then innocent people get hurt. The threats from these far leftists cannot be tolerated. I think Taylor Lorenz. Look,
oh, yeah.
Let me ask you guys. I mean, do you think Taylor Lorenz should face some kind of criminal or civil penalty for doing this?
I think so. And I think it's insane that she worked at both the Washington Post and the New York Times before that and was heralded as basically the go-to reporter for internet trends for at least 5 or 6 years. She was the person who put Kellyanne Conway's daughter into the spotlight and used a child to advance her liberal activism. And now she has tucked tail away from the corporate media and blame them, even though they're the ones who gave her a platform for, I guess, everything that's going wrong in politics. But it's absolutely disgusting. And we have seen the consequences of this type of rhetoric with what happened to Trump, right? I mean, it's a perfect analogy with the Butler rally, which you're talking about, Tim, because there was someone who died in the crowd because of that shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania. And there were other people there who were completely innocent, who had nothing to do with the president, who were injured. These types of threats, this type of behavior is not just relegated to the person that they want to target in their crosshairs. And it's the exact same type of connection that they make too, right? It's, well, this person is somehow directly responsible for my life being crap, and so I have to kill them in order to affect change, rather than going through the normal democratic process, or in this case, if you're talking about corporations, boycotting or picketing or protesting or literally anything short of being physically violent.
I like that she exposes herself as being this bloodthirsty. I like seeing exactly how she feels, because this is, to me, an extension of the summer of violence, where their preferred language is violence, and that's how they want to affect policy. I think it's horrible, despicable. I think she's a gross human being.
It's funny. I bet Washington Post, and where did you work? Did you work at the Atlantic?
I think that's right.
Did you work at New York Times?
It was
as well?
Atlantic, then New York Times, then Washington Post, I believe.
All the greatest
So she's
ones.
been everywhere, yeah.
I bet they regret hiring her.
Do you? I don't know. I think they like these people.
No. Like the story at Washington Post was that the veteran journalists were freaking out that they hired some millennial writer.
Activist.
If she's even a millennial.
That's true.
We don't know her age.
True that. That's why she wears a
So
mask.
we have this tweet.
50 years old.
Here's a tweet from Jarvis Best on X, who said, I love Taylor Lorenz so much because she spends half her time wishing death on her enemies and the other half complaining about online bullying.
It's
So true.
Wow.
So true.
I mean, it's true. It's typical of the left, though. I mean, you hear like you referenced the Summer of Love, the the idea that by any means necessary, which Tim's talked about, that's an actual organization, you know, by any means necessary. The idea that you have to respect a variety of tactics, I think is what they say.
Diversity of tactics.
Diversity of tactics.
Yeah.
These are all things that are typical of the left. Violence is not actually something that comes from the right frequently, though it does happen. It's usually leftist violence. It's usually lower grade violence than right-leaning violence. Right-leaning violence is more about trying to actually cause damage, whereas leftist violence is frequently just trying to scare people and intimidate people, which they've effectively done.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.